Hey, hi guys. Today I'm going to be showing you guys the rig that I usually use for offshore fishing in Changi. This rig has proven to be really useful, very good at catching the fish along the breakers and avoid getting snagged along the rocks as well as the corals. So I'm just going to be showing you how I tie my rig, and it might not work for the other places in Singapore, for example the southern waters or Tuas. Okay, so southern waters or Tuas, because of the fast moving waters, you might need to use heavier sinkers and whatnot. So over here in Changi, when we fish along the breakers, the current is not as fast, the drift is not as fast, um, unless you're fishing in the open waters. So basically, I use a 60 gram, okay, a 60 gram weight. This is similar to a ball sinker, but this is more oval in shape. Right, you need a long shank hook like this. So the long shank hook, I feel it's better when you put on the prawn. There are also these little edges which prevent the prawn from slipping out, but so far I don't think it's very useful. It doesn't really help much. Of course, 2 Lumo beads. Okay, so your sinker, your hook, 2 Lumo beads, and also your snap. You can use a swivel also, but for me I just use a snap, it's easier. And okay, so for the Lumo beads, right, if I'm not wrong, there are 2 different kind of Lumo beads. One is the more elastic and soft one, and one is the very hard plastic one. To me, I prefer these softer Lumo beads. It's soft and it kind of grips onto the line better. Okay, let's get on to the tying. So usually for the line, right, for this rig I will use about 20-pound Dupont. Yep. So it's usually about 1 arm's length. How I tie, it's a very basic knot that you tie on your hook. So you just thread it through the eyelet. Okay. Pull it through to about maybe you're starting with your index finger at the end of the hook, index finger to where your thumb is, right? Hold it, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so you just loop around the shank and then you hold it real tight. You notice there's a loop, put it in and pull. So I'm not going to be teaching you guys how to tie a hook because you can find other tutorials online. So you just tighten it just like that, and you'll see a very nice tight hook. So of course, trim off the edge here. Just trim it off. Okay. Right. So there you have it. You tie a hook first, and then after that you pull it all the way to the end. Okay. And you have a loop here, so you just tie it 2 times. 1 and 2, and you just tighten it like that. All right. Same thing over here. Trim the tag end. There you go. Right. So what I usually do next is okay. So this is where the Lumo bead comes in, right? So you take the loop, just pinch it all the way to the top, and squeeze it tight. Put it through the Lumo bead, so you can see why I kind of like the soft squishy ones, because it's very flexible. And after you put on the first Lumo bead, right, you take your ball sinker. So some people who use the ball sliding sinker rig, so the sinker will actually slide all the way to the front of the hook like that. Okay, but for me what I do is because I have this knot here, I am trying to not let the sinker swing all the way to the hook. So at the end of the day, I have a lot of free play in the water. It kind of looks more natural also. So after you're done putting onto the Lumo bead, okay, you take the end of the loop also, and you thread it through the Right, once you thread it through, okay, you grab the loop and you put in the next Lumo bead, just like that. Okay, so you'll notice that you have a little bit of free play over here for your sinker, right? And ultimately the loop, okay, it goes on to your snap, and your snap is actually fastened onto your shock leader and onto your main line. So this is basically how I tie my rig. So you have a snap or a swivel down to a loop knot, and you have a 60-gram sinker to play along the breakers. You can use 40 grams also. If you're playing mid-water, then of course take note, you might need to increase your weight to maybe about 100 grams. Yeah, depends on how you want to play it. And of course, so the sinker stops here, and there you have a lot of free line here, maybe about 30 cm, 20 to 30 cm of free line over here. And in the water, when you're knocking against the rocks, this is free, and then your shrimp or your prawn or whatever bait that you're using will look really, really natural. And because it's loose, there's no tension, chances of the fish swallowing your prawn whole is high. And of course, you know, sometimes the fish might be gut hooked. So yes, this is the first rig that I usually use in Changi waters, right? So basically, it's like a running sinker, but only the sinker doesn't run. The sinker is stopped at the top. Okay, so for the next rig that I usually use is what I call the Twisted Single Apollo T rig. So basically this rig, I have 40 pound DuPont line. It's roughly about 1.5 arms length. Okay, so basically what you do is you align, okay, you match the lines, right? Make sure that the tip, you match it. You find the center of the line over here. You kind of make a little squeeze. So this is going to be the point where you're going to put your hook, right? So you give a little squeeze, and what I usually do here, my right hand will be twisting forward, okay, outward, and my left hand will be twisting it inward, right? So when you twist both together, what you will get is uh, you get a twist like that. So you just keep twisting, hold it really, really tight. So you notice that they're twisting, but the tip, okay, the tip of the line, if you notice, is not tight. So what you do, you gently pull it to the tip, okay? Don't pull too much, just nice at the tip like that. And then you release it. As you release, you notice that the loop, the twist gets more snug and tighter. So you just continue twisting on both ends. Then you just pull gently again to tighten, and then yeah, continue twisting. So you're basically twisting. This is the twist that you're looking for, and you see the tip, it's very nice and tight. Okay, so once you twisted roughly about 15 to 20 centimeters, this is what you're looking for. You hold on to the both ends just like this, right? And you just crisscross each other, so you have a loop. This one, this tag end, you go around 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. And then the other side also 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. So this is roughly what you have. That's what you'll see as well. All right. So just estimate and find the middle twist here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you find the middle twist here and just gently open it up until you have a hole, just like this, right? Grab your twisted end and just thread it through like this. Okay, and pull it all the way. Okay, so you see the twisted end right over here. This is where you should meet the twisted end here. Okay, over here to over here. So you just adjust it like this. So you notice, okay, and from here you're roughly in the middle of your twist between the two tagged ends. All you have to do is just pull. You can lubricate it with a little bit of saliva, or if you have water close by, you can use water as well. Alright, so it's slightly lubricated. So you just pull on both tag ends, just like that. And this is how you get your T, right? So you can see here, this is how you get your T rig. So you notice the two tagged ends, right? And you have the twisted, over here, you have the twisted single Apollo all the way to the edge. And over here, same thing, okay? Very, very easy. Just loop it and then do a double knot. So 1 and 2. Okay, and the other tagged end here. Okay. 1 and 2. You just tighten both. So you can always use, because it's 40-pound Dupont, it's pretty tough. You can use a plier and then tighten the tagged ends and then snip it off. Same thing for the other side. Use a plier, tighten it, and just snip it off the other side. So I will only recommend this for maybe Dupont 40-pound and above. So you notice how stiff it is. Because sometimes when you are fishing, and you're reeling up your line, if you're running a single Apollo without the twist, sometimes it will wrap around, but because we are using 40-pound Dupont, which is quite tough and stiff, so you get a very, very stiff T-joint single Apollo rig. So question, how do you put on a hook? So if you go all the way to the tip of your T-rig, you twist the end, and then you take a hook, and you simply just put it through the eyelet, just like this, right? Once you have threaded it through the eyelet, put it through the tip of your twisted end. And from here, you just fasten all the way. And then over here, you can use the tip of the hook to either hook the head of the prawn or the second last section of the prawn, right? And then after that, you tighten it. So it depends. For these kind of straight hooks, right? Some of the eyelets, they're actually bent in a certain direction. So it depends on how you want your presentation to be. You can either put it through this side or you can put it through this side. So as you can see, it's going to be a very, very stiff, twisted T-joint single Apollo rig. This one works really, really well if you're trying to hunt for groupers or any toothy fish, because it's pretty strong, 40-pound Dupont. Unless you catch a shark, then I think it's going to be a problem. But other than that, I think this rig works really, really well for me. This is what David and Ryan, they were using in the previous video when we went offshore with Asun. Yeah, and they caught pretty good fish with this. Toothy fish also still okay. There is one other way I like to tie my hooks. So sometimes I always like to have an insurance hook. So why I call it insurance hook? Because at the end of the day, this is the rig that I usually use, right? The fixed ball sinker rig with a free line, right? So what I do is, instead of using a long shank hook, I will always have a little bit of an insurance. So what do I mean by that? I tie two hooks, right? So let me get my hook out. So the hooks that I use are usually called Daichi hooks. They're really, really sharp. But if you do hit them against a rock or you get stuck and you pull it out, chances are your tip will be blunt. So that's the problem with Daichi hooks right here. Right, so usually I have two hooks. Okay, I use a golden one for the main one. No particular reason why, I just thought having gold hooks would be cool. So at the end of the rig, what I do is I'll make sure that I tie my first go hook first with a sufficient line behind so that I can tie my second hook, right? So I'll go ahead and tie my golden hook first. So this one is a little bit more tedious. If you're tying on a boat, then it might be a little bit tougher, right? So once you tie onto the golden hook, you notice your tag end is extremely long. What I do is I take a second hook and I thread it through all the way. How to know when to stop is you stop right at where the hook ends. Okay, and then you tie on your second hook. Just like that. Alright, there you go. So this black color hook over here, this one kind of acts like an insurance hook. Alright, so just trim off the tag end right here. So this is the other rig that I like to use. Okay, so if you look here, it's your sinker, and then there's a stopper here. So the Lumo bead will stop itself here, so the sinker doesn't run. And then you have a lot of free line here, as you can see, right? So the free line runs to a main hook and the insurance hook. So usually how I hook a prawn is, don't really know how to explain because I don't have a live prawn here. So this hook here will go to the second last part of the prawn, and this hook here will hook onto the head of the prawn. So head and tail. So if you catch fishes like the finger mark snapper or the golden snapper, right, or what we call the angjo, usually they like to target the head of the prawn. So when that happens, you target the head, ooh, and then you catch it on the insurance hook, right? But in the event a fish swallows the prawn whole, you will get caught by the main hook and the insurance hook. So the insurance hook, you'll get caught in the middle of the mouth, deeper into the mouth, and the main hook, you will catch it at the lip. So if you notice the previous video when Asun was trying to unhook, this is the rig that he uses as well. The only thing different is he does put a Lumo bead here, an orange Lumo bead here, but I don't. So this is usually how I rig my prawn as well for Changi offshore. So this one you can use it, I think it's safe to say that you can use it in southern waters and Tuas also, because insurance hook will guarantee a high rate of a hookup. Because sometimes when, for example, you catch a very bony mouthed fish, like a grouper, you catch it on the bone, sometimes it doesn't have a proper hook set, the hook slides off and it comes off, and then you lose a fish. However, if you have an insurance hook, the insurance hook will hook onto the inner part of the mouth where it's softer. This one you might not hook onto the lip proper, but at least the insurance hook, it's hooked onto something softer inside, so the chances of you landing the fish is higher. Alright, hope you guys enjoy the video of me showing you what rigs I mainly use in Changi. So these are the two main rigs that I use. Sometimes when I'm in the mood, I will go for the double hook, the one with the insurance hook, or sometimes if it's a little bit more hectic and fish are biting me even more aggressively, I would just go for a single hook because it's easier to tie, less of a hassle. And sometimes I do switch around with the T-joint single Apollo, and usually I use a long shank hook at size 3/0. I think for Changi waters, if you're targeting like, for example, mangrove jacks, groupers by the breakers, usually these are the better ones, the better sized hook to use. And also with a stiff T-joint twisted Apollo, chances of your hook getting stuck, it's lower. Alright, hope you guys have learned something new. If you're going to fish offshore at Changi, right, do try these rigs out, and wish you all the best for your trips. Tight lines. See you.